All right, just let me know in the chat if you can see the slides or the slide before I get started, because then after I push present, I'm not sure I'll be able to see anything. All right, perfect. Perfect. Then I'll get started. So after the slides, I'll just go back and check if there's questions, because when I have this whole thing up, it doesn't like to work very well. I just don't think it does. Unless I can pull up the chat up here. Yeah, it doesn't like that. All right. So today we're going to be talking about leads and interest, except this time it's going to be organized and it's going to make more sense, because there was a bit of a disconnect yesterday. We weren't quite planned out as well as we should have been. So the question is, all right, leads. Where do you actually find leads? It's the critical question. So this is just the expand your mind slide. All right, leads literally everywhere. So you could be looking for leads in your friends. That's a big one. That's how I got one of my first clients. Acquaintances, coworkers. You know, it's that old theory that like everyone knows someone and you have the web going out there. It's very true. You never know who knows who or what they're looking for. So you're going to want to keep your eyes open to friends, acquaintances, coworkers. Social media platforms. We have platforms like, well, y'all know what the platforms are. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn especially, Pinterest, Twitter, even these weird places like Reddit, 4chan, and DeviantArt. You can still find clients in weird places where no one else is looking. That might be a writer downer if you're looking for more unusual clients, because these people might not know how to build a website. They might not know how to get their stuff out there. They might be trying to branch out into another business, but they don't know anything about business. So this could be the gold mine for you, like these weird off sites where you wouldn't expect it, because people there do have money and they do pay for stuff, and it's kind of surprising what they pay for. Some of my friends write like fan fictions and things, and they make decent money. They make decent money doing that. It surprises me still. You've also got places like freelance sites. You got Fiverr, you got Upwork. They're not going to be the highest quality sites because you need a lot of experience generally to charge higher prices. No one wants to stay on Fiverr and Upwork. But one of the little secrets is when you are actually on Fiverr and Upwork and you get a good client, they don't always want to keep having to find more people on Fiverr or Upwork. They might want something a little more permanent, in which case you can try to negotiate how you stay on with them. And then in their case, from their side, when they're hiring people, they realize no one wants to be on Fiverr either. So sometimes they'll try to make deals with you if their work is good, and they'll try to stick with you and, you know, like rescue you from Fiverr, so to speak. You've also got events. So specifically events where you'll be, you know, the red Lamborghini in the sea of white ovens. And the reason I say ovens and not other cars is because you'll be something that what you want to be at an event is something that no one else can even do. All right. So when I was at the ClickFunnels event back in, I think it was 2019, that one, they had these nice little tags you put on your name tag. They were like these little ribbons, and they said exactly what you did. And if you looked at the ribbons, like funnel builder, coach, mentor, those ribbons were gone. All right, they were gone. There was like a million coaches, mentors, funnel builders, business owners, all of that. But then when you look at like the copywriting, that ribbon, it's like there's like hundreds of ribbons left. And that's when you know, okay, wait, this is a place where these people, they're going to need what I have, but there's none of them here. So you're the red Lamborghini, you're the red car, you can drive, you can move, versus all these white ovens, which they're stationary. They can cook food fine, but they can't drive you somewhere. So it's a totally different comparison. Because otherwise, if you're in a conference full of other copywriters or full of other like dancers or influencers or whatever job it is, then everyone there is doing the same thing and you're competing against all of them. And that makes it very difficult. So you see, you're not competing with other cars. You're literally the only car. You've also got sales pages. You've got support lines. You've got closing calls. This one might sound a little weird, but I'll go into it. So when I'm talking about sales pages and support lines, these pages, they're your first line in to someone that owns that business or someone that might have more clout or decision making. Because once you reach out to support, they might have to go through several lines and several people, but down the line, down that power line, there is still the decision maker. They do exist. And the other thing of closing calls, you could always try to close the closer, right? So you either get in touch with support, or when you're on a call, you make it known up front that, hey, I really love the products or whatever, and I wanted to know if I could possibly work with you, get in touch with someone, that sort of thing. It all depends on how you want to approach it. All right, so we'll just keep going on. Basically, what I was talking about was the whole idea of this is your first contact. This is your first foot in the door. This is your first way in. So when I say all roads lead to Rome, everything's going back to a central point. Everything leads back to a potential decision maker or someone who can possibly get you in. And then you've also got these other options, like you could potentially get leads from weird places like dating apps. So honestly, I mean, this one's more of a joke, but I want to help you, get more creative, because you could link your Instagram profile to something like a Tinder account. You could go onto a more business-oriented website or one of those places. There's still people. There's still people everywhere. There's still going to always be these potential decision makers. You don't know where you're going to find them yet. So just keep your mind open to that. It's basically the idea that leads are just people, all right? They're people with problems, and you can solve those problems for money. I would write that one down because it's a good thing to remember. You're not dealing with like business corporations or whatever, because there's still people inside of there. The decision makers are still people at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta agree with that, Andrew. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some chicken. But the idea is they are like, I'm trying to find my cat, sorry. But the idea is that they're like, they have the emotional aspect too going to it, and people buy with emotion, but they justify with logic.
Yep, exactly. So it pretty much narrows down to you have to think about where people are already looking for help. All right. So I have a bunch of examples over here off to this side. So if a normal person is feeling sick, they're going to want to see a doctor. That's where they're going to go. If someone is spiritual, who's like, yeah, that's understandable, Raul. Thanks for showing up, man. Cool. We'll see you later, man.
Raul is like the king of high ticket leaving like calls.
He's got stuff to do, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying he's good, but he shows up. That's what matters.
Yeah, he shows up, and that's what counts. So if someone who's feeling more spiritual says they're feeling sick, they might try to go see like a local healer or a shaman or someone more within their religious beliefs to help them heal. Someone in alternative medicine feels sick, they might want some elderberry, colloidal silver. They might try another approach. Need a web designer, check Fiverr. I need employees, I'll find a headhunter. I need a girlfriend, I'll go to a local bar. I need help with just about anything. Where's the first thought that most people are going to look? Like, where would they look for the specific thing that they're trying to find? So where does it make sense to be in advance? So that's why we need to get to the source, the client source. So think of it like an anthill, right? This is a source. Ants come out of this. So think about it. Where are your potential clients actually coming from? Because they do come from somewhere. And it is like an ant infestation. You can your clients aren't ants, but it's a good example. So you could just keep searching around, keep looking for the ants. You can keep trying to pick them up and find each individual one, but it's a lot easier to find them and get a hold of them when you know where they're coming from. So it's literally, you can be the anteater, you can be the spawn camper, because you're going to get first dibs on the kills. You're going to get first dibs on the clients. You're going to be the ones there to just catch them first. And it's one of those that's very it almost seems kind of sneaky because you will be the first one there, and it's always frustrating in games because it's a tactic that works so well in video games that everyone always complains and calls people out on it. Like spawn campers, literally an insult because it's taking advantage of positioning so much that you just happen to be exactly where everyone has to come through. But in the business world, people, doesn't matter if they call you that because it's going to work. So how do you actually find that source, though? That's the real question. So I'm going to use an example. So where are your markets pass off points? I just call them pass off points because it's where one person hands off a client to another, or they pass it off to someone else. No, you're good, Vaughn. You're all good. Don't worry about it. We will see you later, man. But yeah, the real question is here, where are the pass-off points? So there's parts in every decision-making chain or client acquisition chain where you can catch potential clients early. And what I mean by that is you see how we have these different people? The one on the right needs a job. This guy, the guy in the middle on the right needs website builders. The guy to the left of him has website builders and he's offering them, right? And then the guy on the other side needs his website built. So as far as examples go, this is a great one. It's basically a supply chain for clients. So each pass-off point has unique advantages to going after it. So if you just, the person who needs the job, he could, right? The one who needs the clients or the job, he could go to the website builder recruiter. The first guy on the third guy from the left, I guess. He could go to the recruiter, or he could try to go straight to the distributor, which is the one saying I have website builders. Or you could go straight after the client who needs the website built, the one who needs the website. So the example of a source, like a client source, would be the person that's gathering website builders, so like a hub. So you can think of Fiverr. This guy with the arrow next to him, he's pretty much Fiverr, right? He's a connector. He's someone that has access to lots of clients, but also has access to lots of potential contractors and freelancers. So the secret to actually finding that source, you have to know where people are already looking. So this is where I'm going to get to the who, the what, the where from yesterday. So who is simply who you're going after. All right. In our example, it would be the people who need a website built. Does the example so far make sense? Because I can come up with a different example if need be. Just let me know. Yes, the who is that. Yes, Ahmed. The who is going to be the ideal person we're going for. Did the previous example make sense with the website builders and the handing off? Because otherwise I could try to make a different example using like some of our products or some of our, like distributor chain. Okay, so not really. So let me go ahead and actually go back then. So let me try to explain this differently. And we have annotations, right? We have this whiteboard thing. No, you're good. That's perfect. Because otherwise I wouldn't have known and I would have moved on and it would have been confusing. So let me see how we draw here. All right, so the easiest way to say this would be that this person right here, can you see the marker, by the way? So I'm not just...
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. So in this person, the one who needs the job, think of this as you. Just anyone that, it's not necessarily a job that you need, but it's a client. All right, if you're looking for a client at all, this would be where you are now. So you're actively seeking someone who has some sort of job or some sort of need that you can get paid to fulfill. This guy right here is the recruiter. So he's going to, let's change the color. He's going to recruit talent like you, except he's going to do it on a large scale. So instead of just one person, you've got lots of people that he's pulling in all under his name. So he makes it easier for this distributor, him over here, he's the distributor because he'll pass all 4 of these web programmers. This guy, this one right here, he passes those 4 off to this guy right here, who is a distributor. Sometimes you'll have people that can both recruit and distribute, in which case they're just a connector and you would just merge these 2 people together. But it's a little easier to understand when it's 2 separate people. And then the benefit to this, the way that this works is, now all these people that need websites built, just pretend there's like a mob of people over here. They only have to go to one source to get their website built. So if you want to compare these to actual websites or actual things that are easier to envision, think of if you're doing Uber, the guy over here, let's just use a different color and make this thicker. All right, yes. This guy right here, he's the driver. If you're talking Uber, he's the driver. And then over here are the people that need a taxi service. They need to get somewhere. So that would be this guy. He needs to get somewhere. Uber itself is a connector, so they are in the middle. You would merge these 2 people together and this would be Uber. Because Uber is saying, hey, we don't need website builders, right? We need taxi drivers, or we need people to drive people around. So that looks horrible. We need drivers. And then at the same time, their app is also saying, I have drivers. So that's the point of the connector. The other way that you could go about this, how do we erase all of this? Clear? There we go. All right, so then the other idea is basically, if you are looking for that taxi service for Uber, then that's where you would go, and you can either go to the Uber app and apply there. You can apply there, and then they'll feed you clients. The app will give you the clients you need. Or, let me clear the drawings again, or you, who needs the job, who needs the money, you go ahead. All right, man, see ya, babe. Yeah, so basically what you would do is you go ahead and instead of going to Uber, you bypass them and you go straight to trying to find a client who needs someone to drive them around. So you cut out the middleman, you probably make more money, but it's much harder to find someone in the first place. So did that sort of clear it up? And don't worry if it didn't, because I can keep going, man. I can keep explaining it until it actually makes sense to you. Because it's just us, dude. You're good.
Very clear. What?
I didn't quite hear you. What did you say? Yeah, just let me know in the chat if that made sense with the other example instead. Or I can give you like another one. Or if there's a specific part that you didn't understand, just let me know and I can explain it differently. I think we got connection issues. All right, I'm just going to go for it then. So I will do it. You know what? Here, I'll do one more example. Right, let's do one more example just to be safe. So if you're a freelancer, you're over here. need a job, right? Some sort of client. The fastest way you can do it is to try to go straight for someone who needs your services. Over here. That's the fastest way, probably the best way to do it, but it's also one of the hardest because you have to find this person. Your other option is you can find someone who's a recruiter. So this person, he might be on Fiverr and he might provide, this could just be a website. This could just be Fiverr, actually. So it's someone who just already needs the skill that you have, and they'll do the client hunting for you. So the way that they do the client hunting is they usually go to another person or another source, or they just do both, or it could even be a website. And then that other source is the one that goes out and gets the clients for you. So when they get the clients for you, usually they take some, like they take some of the money. They'll usually take like a piece of that just for getting you those clients. The secret to finding the source is knowing what people are already looking. So where are they looking? So who, what, and where. Who is simply who you're going after. In our example would be people who need a website built. So we've got like a bunch of important considerations here. So who do you want to work with, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people you don't want to work with. Like, for example, I had a client a while back or not too long ago. Basically, everything that I did, she would change it. So all the copy, she would just start changing things around. When I made suggestions to the offer, no, we're not doing that. Hey, I need this. I need a video, a shot. I need an ad. Nah, I'm not going to do it. Or she would always, she's just frustrating to work with. So some people, you're not going to get along with them. You're not going to vibe with them, and it's not going to be fun to work with them. So don't do that. The second one, does whoever you're going after have money to actually pay you? Because that's a big one. When you're first starting out, there's going to be people that want your help, but they might not have all the shit together yet. And that can be good for a partnership later if you want to put in the time and the effort. But there's a lot of risk and there's a lot of chance it doesn't go anywhere. So I'd be mindful of that second point. I'd be very careful with that. Number 3 is the who, someone you agree with in terms of their beliefs. You know, if they're just scamming people left and right and they're not ethical, you're not going to want to stick around with them. Unless you like that, and then you go right ahead. But just make sure that whatever they do syncs up with your beliefs, that you can believe in the product, that you can get behind it. So, is the who accessible to you? Do you have a way to actually get to them, get in front of them? Do you have any way to contact them? And then if not, can you actually get access? Do you have a way to get access to them? So the things you'll want to avoid. You'll want to avoid telling yourself that you'll work with anyone. This kills your clarity, kills your uniqueness, makes you less desirable, and you blend in with literally everyone else that's looking for a client. And then it's very difficult because they've got stacks of applications, portfolios, everything. They don't want to go through it all. So a lot of times it'll just be, and unless something really catches their eye really quickly, your stuff's never going to get read. The other one is going too hard, too fast. So I know it's easy to want a client, but it's a very different thing between wanting it and being able to actually do something with it. It's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. You know, like if you've ever seen a dog catch its tail, it doesn't know what to do. So it's basically like the time that Google had scouted me for recruitment. They wanted to hire me, but I botched my interview real bad because there was a lot of basic stuff. They basically had asked me to program in a language I wasn't as familiar with. So back then I was not very familiar with C#. And I screwed up a lot of the semantics. Same with PHP. I screwed up a lot of the boilerplate code, a lot of the basic stuff. And that was a skill issue. That wasn't a finding people issue. That wasn't an opportunity issue. That was just a skill issue, which it can crop up. So you want to make sure you have at least enough skill, just enough. You don't need excessive, but just enough to bring someone a result. The what is the thing you're actually offering. So when I say the thing you're actually offering, I mean, is it a website? Is it sales copy? Is it a service? Are you driving someone? Are you mentoring someone? It sort of becomes, what are you doing? What are you offering specifically? And instead of just saying, I write sales copy, you can tell someone, I write VSLs for natural health supplements. It's going to funnel things down. And it makes you more desirable because then they assume you have more expertise in that field because it's something you do specifically. And then where is where you need to be. And yeah, it's pretty hard to convince a potential client if you only have a few days of experience in copywriting. Yeah, it's very true. It can be very difficult because they're basically chancing you. But we will get to what to do if that is the case. So the where is pretty important because it's where you need to be in order to show up in front of the right people. So you can almost think of this like, you know, if you've ever seen those movies or any of these video games where there's an assassin, you can think of it that way. You need to know where your target is going to be before they know. Or maybe they do know where they are, but you need to know. You need to be able to intercept them. So, you know, in a more movie type example, if you know that your client walks down the street to their office down Mulberry Street every single day at 3 p.m., if you happen to be there at 3 p.m., you're going to have your chance to get to talk to the guy. So the point is to not quite to stalk people, but to understand where they'll be online. So instead of a physical address, where do they hang out online? Where are they actually interacting with people online? Instead of just having their gatekeepers or other people that they've hired managing their social media profiles. So take a minute, just think about where the parallels are here with this one. So where can you actually show up to meet clients? This could be in the real world. This could be digital too. Because your clients might just all be, who knows, they could be on Pinterest. They could all be on LinkedIn. They could all be they could be funneled in on Facebook. They could be in specific private Facebook groups or masterminds. And then the second point, what connections need to be made over time? Like, what connections do you need to make in order to actually get access to those places? So there's different connections that you need to make over time. So if you want access to, let's say, what's an example? If you want access to Dan Kennedy, you might have to be able to reach out to, say, like another prominent copywriter, like if Gary Bencivenga were to introduce you to Dan Kennedy, you would have a much better shot. And then if you can't get to, like, yeah, I just want to make sure this makes sense. If you can't get to someone directly, how many other people do you have to go through to be able to leapfrog your way to that person or get somewhere where you have the chance to be in front of that person? So it could be paying your way into an event, could just be making friends, could be doing a lot of things. But how do you get their interest once you actually find them? So here's a little secret for that. It's going to be oats. In fact, it's going to be these freaking oats right here. But these aren't just any freaking oats, man. These aren't just any oats. These are special. So this is an acronym that you're going to want to remember because it will show you exactly what you need to do. So it's just an acronym, outlines the main ways to get someone's attention and turn it into interest. So if you think of the attention, interest, decision, action formula, you'll get this. So the first part is F is follow-up. This is the part No one wants to hear. This is the part I don't want to hear, but it's true. So just being able to follow up gets a lot of attention, mostly because you become annoying in a good way. So if every day someone sees that one email from you, maybe they look at it, maybe they open it, maybe they don't. But over time, they start to say, like, who is this guy who keeps emailing me? And then it's literally just going to stand out. And then other times, the problem is if someone's busy, your email's there, maybe it's interesting, maybe they're reading it. Maybe they just forget. They don't keep 20,000 Google tabs open like I do. The email gets lost, and then they forget. They didn't write it down. And then weeks later, they're not digging all the way back to go get it. So a follow-up is just, it's more of a reminder. You're not really bugging people, you're just reminding them. Second part here, we have offer. The offer is really, really important. So what are you actually offering? So that can get a lot of attention, what you're offering and where you're offering it. So if you're offering building funnels at a business convention where no one else knows how to do it, that's very valuable. If you're offering copywriting at a funnel seminar where no one knows how to write copy, that's very valuable. What offers can you put together? How can you package your skills together in a way that solves a specific problem for the people you're trying to serve? So that offer is going to be very attractive if you put it together correctly. So instead of being like all the other offers with like one rewrite or do this, do that, you'll get these free graphics. Can you make your offer stand out by either doing more or justifying it more? So an example of justifying it more would be a proposal where you, for example, you write out like, emails, $250 a piece. The sales letter, like $5,000 just for that one block. You list out why you're charging, what you're charging. That's another good way to do it, is if you do the math for them and you can relate that to how much ROI you may or may not get them. But if you have a track record, it really helps. If you can tie that back, it makes a lot more sense to them when they can see, if I put in $1, I'm probably going to get 10 back. The third point we have here is going to be authority, which is a little bit different. This one's the one where it's the stuff that they almost have to find on their own, right? You could interject it, you could inject it into what you say as well, but generally it's something people are going to sort of figure out on your own. Like if you have pictures floating around of you with famous people or celebrities, it doesn't even have to be anyone that's relevant to what you're doing. And it can still be pretty effective. So if you have a picture of just, you with Kobe Bryant, and it just implies that you hang around with celebrities like Kobe Bryant, that alone can get your foot in the door. Just because other people make this false assumption, just because you can hang out with someone like that, that must mean that you are a higher position as well. You can also do a tie back, where you can always tie things back in to that authority as well. So if it is something that makes sense, like you were mentored by David Deutsch or something like I was, then, then you can go ahead, you can tie that back. And then the way you go ahead and the way you describe it matters too, because it was over a Zoom call and I was being mentored over some group coaching with him. He was there live, but it all depends on how you go and present that to your client, right? Everything has two sides. You can downplay it or you can upscale it, or you can just tell there's no such thing as the truth, really. You're going to end up downplaying it or upscaling it, and it's going to be one of the two. You're going to have to read your clients, and you're going to have to just understand how much proof you do or don't have for something like that. Another good example is if you're introducing someone new and you say how much money they've made for something, it just automatically gives more authority to what they're doing. And if you don't have specific numbers like that, just anything reputation-wise, like he was friends with this guy or he got to hang out with that guy and he's done these things, you can omit, you can remember framing from yesterday. You can pick what you show. Fourth one is going to be trust. Trust is mostly recommendations. It's mostly referrals. So that's going to be where someone else you know, like a friend, refers you to someone, and they trust you already. They already know your work. Since you're getting a warm introduction, and that just makes it so much easier. It makes it a lot easier because even if you don't have any experience, trust is where you can get someone to vet you, and their experience, they'll judge you. You go through them, they go to the client and say, hey, I've got this guy, he's new, but look, I trust his writing. His writing's really good. I've worked with you before. We've gotten some results. And that can get your foot in the door for sure, if you have anyone that needs that. And then the last one is going to be spec work. So that's going to be work that you do for free. For free. You can think of it as doing it for free if you want, but really, it's like you're paying your dues. All right, you're getting the experience. You're doing some work for quote unquote free. But if it pans out, it could pay off for a long time. It could keep giving you repeat business. It helps you build your portfolio. It gives you a lot of practice, like real practice, targeted practice. So there's no reason to not do it. Don't get obsessive with it and just the second someone reaches out to you, you offer to do everything for free. But if they need to see some sort of spec work and you don't mind doing it, you're a little newer, it can definitely be beneficial because sometimes you'll actually get feedback for it. Now, the only problem is sometimes, on the other hand, because they're not paying you for it, it'll never get tested, run, or looked at, versus if someone else that they were considering charge them for a proposal or charge them for the spec or for that like spec work or the research. Because once they've paid for something, they're going to care a lot more about it instantly. So it's good for starting out to do the spec work. That's fine. But it's not something I would rely on too heavily. So if you actually go down or if you go up the line here, you'll notice from spec work, trust, authority, offer, follow-up. Actually, can I do the drawing thing again? Yeah, we're going to do that because I want to make this clear for you. When you're going up the line here, spec work is great for total beginners. If you have like zero credibility, if you've never done this before, if you only have a few days, if you're brand new, spec work is great because you'll get your practice, you'll get your reps. Next up is trust, because that can short circuit everything. If you're totally new, but someone is willing to vouch for you, then that can help you skip the line. You might not have to do spec work because someone else already trusts you. They already trust you to deliver content because someone else said that you could. And the someone who vetted you is someone that the client trusts. So if you have a client and then you have your friend, and let's say your friend has already made like $1 million for this client, and then you come along and you ask your friend, hey, can you recommend me to this guy? Your friend has the option to put his reputation on the line and then recommend you to this friend. So that can short circuit everything and get you to skip the line, so to speak. The next higher level up is authority. This one's going to take a little bit more time in the field, so to speak, a little more work on your part, because a lot of times you do have to go to events. You do have to have some sort of result to generate that authority to get your foot in the door with that one. So once you're up to authority, you're probably about halfway there to just being able to make offers and just bring more people in based on referrals and things like that. The next level up is where all you have to do is make an offer. And sometimes people come to you looking for that offer. So a lot of because we're doing copywriter examples, a lot of A-list copywriters, they have waiting lists. There's lots of people waiting for them to write their letter. So all they have to do is just put out their offer, like I'll write a VSL. That's literally all they have to say. And, then they'll have the waiting list fill up really fast. The offer alone did it, and it's mostly because of their authority, their track record. They have trust. They've probably done their spec work in the past, so they've built on all of these past experiences. They've built on all of these other tools that exist. And then the highest tool, let's clear the drawings. The highest tool that you should just use regardless, always, forever, and always, is just following up. So if you want more specifics on that one, usually it's you can just send an email or your application, or you send out whatever it is, and then you can wait a reasonable amount of time if you wish. Recommended time, you could wait 7 days, and you just email them again. All right, you just email them again. I could always give you like a template or something more specific, maybe. Maybe I'll do that as like a bonus. But it's just going to work in that cyclic fashion. So it's send an email. You wait for a few days. Could be 4 to 7, 3 to 7. Doesn't really, honestly, it doesn't matter how many days you do or don't wait. Just don't send them like 10 emails a day. And then you follow up, email them again. And then if you do this more than 2 times, so if you sent out 3 emails in total, that's when you can move on to the next steps. The next steps could be like calling them, getting on the phone with their support teams, trying to find them another way, sending them like, they used to call it lump email, like a wine bottle or like a basketball or something relevant that they like, or something that's just relevant to what you're trying to do. Like someone I know, they sent, I think it was like a CEO or some company, they sent him a box with a sneaker in it. The whole idea was that was him getting his foot in the door. I think the letter actually said that. This is me getting my foot in the door. And that landed him the job. So that can be very powerful as well. If you're willing to do stuff like that and ask the questions, listen, figure out what they're looking for. Let's cut the drawings. Yep. Here's that again. And then remember that the oats right there, that can get you closer to actually finding your fresh client source. So that client source is likely going to be a connector, but it's someone who can just keep giving you clients over and over and over again. Then once you have their attention, you have the interest, then you just need to make the offer. So yeah, I'm not going to cover too much all at once, so I'm going to cut that off right there, and we'll cover that later. But here's the recap for today. So you just have to keep your eyes open for leads, and you'll eventually find a source of them. You'll find a connector. You'll find someone or somewhere. Connectors are valuable, right? People like list brokers, people that interact with a lot of people. If you just need a metaphor, think of Uber, because they connect people who need rides with people who provide rides. So who do you want to work with? What are you offering, and what benefit does it provide? Where do you need to be to get in front of your clients? And remember those freaking notes, man. Follow up, offer, authority, trust, spec work. Those are going to be the big ones. All right, so I will stop the screen share right there. Abe and Alex, do you have any questions on that one? Or was there anything that didn't quite make sense?
So, can you hear me, Andrew?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So, nice to meet you, man. Even though we've been bumping into each other on all those groups, I don't think we have ever actually met and talked before. So, yeah, nice to meet you.
Awesome, man.
And I just wanted to make a comment. I mean, I've been trying Upwork lately, not even really as a copywriter, but mostly as a tech provider. And that has been working. I've been getting those small clients, but I've been thinking of Upwork as a, how can I say that, as a tripwire actually, because usually people are looking for smaller gigs and cheaper gigs. But then once I'm in, I'm able to talk with the client and discover new pain points that they do have, Sometimes all they need is like a pop-up on the site, but then they figure out that they do need an email list and make that connection work properly, maybe a short sequence, welcome sequence and all that. So that's been helpful. And usually when we have these kind of talks, everyone says, okay, don't go there because the quality is too low and all that. So yeah, it all depends on the positioning. And I've been lucky with it. And that's one of the points that you also said, that when you all consider positioning and the way you position your business and how you position yourself in front of the clients, that really changes. I mean, I've been getting like the same clients coming back for more, and then we can build a proper relationship instead of just being I don't know, I'm just outsourcing something, you know. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's literally, you get your foot in the door by doing what you got to do. And in your case, Upwork worked for you. And then I like how you went in and then you decided to almost partner more with them, help them figure out what their real issues are instead of just one-off jobs. So that is, for everyone on the replay, that is actually a perfect example of how you would go in to find a client source, right? You're going in, you're digging in, you're finding a way to get in front of someone who can keep hiring you. And that's what Abe did. He went in, he kept finding people with like a small problem that he could fix. But then after that, you know, most clients are going to realize they need more than just that one small fix. And it's a lot easier to keep working with the same person, especially if they do good work. So, no, thank you for sharing that, Abe. That's actually a perfect example, and that helps a ton for me because now I can explain it that way.
Yeah, I'm glad I could help, and I'm glad I could share, because like I said, it took me a while to get started on that, and it worked, you know. It's about having the system, going back there, and like I said, it's way easier if you do a good job, get that referral, get that review for your profile and all that. So yeah, awesome.
Yep. So once you have that link to fish in, you can just keep coming back. Did you have any questions, Alex? I know you came in a little bit late.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of mixed up in terms of like how I should best be trying to land some of my target clients, and you know, if they should even be my target clients. I guess with, you know, other musicians who want to sell, you know, like their CDs or their tracks or something, and like, I mean, basically, I just did a post today where it's like, hey, you know, you interested in this kind of stuff? And people said yes. So I sent them a link to that GrooveFunnels thing, and honestly, I don't know if they'll like work out the kinks in it and make it like a fully functioning thing that you could just make like one lifetime purchase on, because that would totally kill ClickFunnels, you know. But like, I don't know, like it's kind of tough, because I could suggest that, and then if they don't do it, maybe I should say, okay, well, if you want to do what I'm doing, just get a ClickFunnels account, you know, and I could kind of guide them through it, and then just say, hey, if you want me to build you something that works, you know, just give them like a flat fee that they could afford or whatever, and then do it that way, I guess. But then they're also going to be paying like $100 a month for ClickFunnels. So I'm a little bit of a conundrum there.
Yeah, I'm like, there's multiple business models, because I know we could get totally off topic, but it sounds like, does that market have a lot of, do they have any money to play with? Or are they like a struggling entrepreneur market which would have trouble paying for much?
Well, they would have more if they were able to perform, but at the same time, a lot of them are probably on unemployment. So it's like, okay, I know how much they're getting for unemployment. So like, but I also know it's going to end pretty soon. But it's like, yeah, it probably wouldn't be too much to ask for, like, hey, if you're willing to invest $500, you know, I'll get you a working funnel, and then you just have to pay 100 to, you know, ClickFunnels, which won't benefit me at all, but just, you can't, like, it's, I think the only way you get to actually be an affiliate for ClickFunnels itself is if you already, you know, sold all their other, you know, crap. You know, it's like if you could do 300 sales in 30 days of our other stuff, then you could start being an affiliate for people actually joining up anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of their.
The old days, yeah. I remember I read that in the group recently. Someone was like, hey, what happened to the trial thing? And it's like, oh, you have to sell 1K of stuff in 30 days and then you
Yeah.
qualify. Maybe. Yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
changed that.
So that's the thing, you know, either that or maybe I could just build them WordPress pages and charge them $50 a month, you know, so I actually get it in my pocket that way. But yeah, and I do have some like working e-commerce kind of stuff, but it might be complicated because the money would all be coming through me. Like I don't know, like I would somehow have to try to get tax write-offs on it, or if they'd have to put it on theirs. You know, if they're actually selling stuff on whatever funnel that I have set up for them.
Yeah, that would all depend on what you want to do with that. Usually, I'm almost thinking based on your offer. Usually, one way that people like to do it is they start top down, like the Tesla model, and you would charge like, let's say 500 to 1,000 for a done for you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do build them a WordPress page, you do all the integrations, you basically put it all together, and then you get proven results from that. And then once you have those results, like, hey, this dude paid me money and I basically gave him something that gives him, you know, $1,000 a month on autopilot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can go down and you can do group coaching. You can go down even further and make a course. Usually you would go down to group coaching so you can do what we're doing here and get some feedback. And then from there, once you have the feedback, you know what people understand, you know what the examples that seem to be hitting. Then you can go a level lower and automate those calls. You can take the recordings, you can do something like that. This is more of like a bonus coaching thing, actually. That's funny. I might cut this later. But yeah, that's definitely one of the ways that you can do that. Because then you'll have like a proven system already that you're doing because it's unfuck-upable if you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you start going down, you've already proved it can work. You're going down a level, and at this point, it's not your fault. It's their fault. And then you go down a level further, and you've got proven results from this level where you're helping them more.
So, I mean, should I almost like help out one of them for free and just have like a revenue sharing thing and then create, you know, the $500 to $1,000 program, like as they're showing the results, and then I guess, create a top-down value ladder. I kind of like that idea.
Yep. You could do that too. That's perfect, actually, because that's one of the things that Dan Henry likes to talk about, where you go from like sort of the top down. You're not doing it for free. You're really doing it so that you'll get paid later. That's a good way to see it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, that's pretty helpful. And yeah, of course, there's like other markets I'm looking at just for straight up copy and all that. But I'd say that's kind of the most immediate thing. And I know like there are a lot of musicians who like can't really make money after the whole pandemic and employment assistance goes away because they really play it public, you know, at least not to the same degree.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could find a way to just get them something monthly without having to do too much, right? Or just if you're playing music.
Mm-hmm.
You could think of an interesting system there. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. Yeah, that's helpful.
You have any other questions while we're here? Because otherwise, I'll probably cut it soon because we're at about 7:30. All right. All good, Abe. Perfect, man. I'm going to cut the live soon. If there's any other questions, you can go ahead. You can post them in the Facebook group. I'm going to update the members area in a little while with the recording. Sometimes it takes a little while. And then I'll post the homework sheets so you can actually use them, get some use out of them. And that'll be it.